All right, what's up, everybody? We're live. This is Kyle with WMMA Fighters, and I have all hail Hailey Cowan on with me today. How you doing, Hailey?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for being on here.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, this is awesome. So, we tried to set something up before, and then you got a quick turnaround
Yeah.
fight. So, um, which is always awesome. You've been on a tear lately. Now, you probably don't remember, but towards the end of last year, I tweeted quite a few of them about fighters who were going to have a big 2018, and you were one of them.
Oh, yay.
And for sure, that has come about. But first, if you wouldn't mind, kind of walk us through what got you into MMA and what got you to where you are now.
I was a gymnast for a really long time. All the way through college, I was on the acrobatics and tumbling team at Baylor. I ended my senior season with a really nasty shoulder injury,
Mm.
and that's not really how I wanted to go out of my athletic career. So when I graduated, I wanted to do something else, and I kind of looked into CrossFit, and that was cool and everything. I think I would have been successful at it, but didn't really think it was for me, so I didn't really go that route. And I walked into an MMA gym, and I was just gonna like go in for a workout, and I thought jujitsu was kind of cool. And I walked in, talked to the coach, uh, signed up, said I'd be back in the evening, and then I didn't miss a practice for like 3 years. So I competed in my first jiu-jitsu tournament just a few weeks after my very first jiu-jitsu class. So I kind of jumped in head first,
Hmm.
quit my job, and started training.
That's awesome. I mean, look at you now. I mean, you're just tearing it up. I love your attitude, demeanor, confidence in yourself, and just I mean, you beam all these positive things, and I appreciate all the conversations we've had. You are definitely a motivating person. I would imagine you've probably been that way forever, right? I mean, being a
It's,
gymnast and all that.
yeah, my parents are super inspiring people. It's definitely been a process to get, my mentality where it is now. As a gymnast, I didn't have very much confidence growing up in the sport, outside of sports time, but I would practice really, really well, and then I would get to the meet and look like a totally different athlete and just kind of
Hmm.
fall through. But when I got, I had a head injury, had to quit gymnastics. I'm okay now.
That's good.
But when I went to college and did acrobatics and tumbling, I'd overcome that head injury, which I wasn't supposed to, and I fully recovered. So I'd overcome something that was way bigger than myself. And so I started to believe in me a little bit more, and I was a totally different athlete in college. I was a two-time All-American, one of, if not the best in the nation at the time. And I, I don't know, I kind of started to look at sports, when I was in gymnastics, I looked at it as this is what you were created to do.
Hmm.
And I got to college, I looked like, no, this isn't what you were created to do. This is what, God gave you this passion and you're good at it. This isn't what you were made to do, but this is what you love to do. And it made it a lot easier for me to be, happier and enjoy myself and compete well too. So,
Yeah, that's a really cool perspective. But that's I think there are everybody's meant for something, at least one thing, right?
yeah.
You are one of those that you look at this sport, and to me, it's my favorite sport. Obviously, I mean, I wouldn't be here. I love covering and watching women's fights, and I think that what you do and what you've done is incredible. It's awesome you were a gymnast. I think that's an amazing sport. But what advice would you give to, I'd say, especially younger female athletes who want to pursue this? What advice would you give them?
I would tell them you have to go 100%. This isn't one of those sports you want to dabble in. You get hurt.
Right.
So I would, make sure it's what you want to do, and if it is really what you want to do, then you got to go all in. There's no halfway in this sport. So,
Hmm. For
so
sure.
yeah.
For sure. What I love is you definitely look like I mean, I'd say you do have a really great team. Got a really good support system, which is wonderful, and that's a big part of it. But like you said, you got to go all in. But when you started, one thing I love about this sport is how welcoming it is. Did you experience that when you started?
Yeah, you know, when I started was a few years ago, and MMA was like on the rise. And so there were a lot of really skilled women's mixed martial artists, but not a lot of athletes in the sport yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I came in, I was built like a gymnast. I had really big muscles, and I, had great cardio, and I was super strong. So I think people got really excited about me early on just because of my athletic abilities. And so, yeah, they were really welcoming to me. No one ever really, a lot of people tell you can't do that, you're not capable. I never really got that in this sport, which is nice. I got it enough in gymnastics, so.
For sure. That's awesome. So, looking back now, I know you're totally into it, and like I said, I mean, you look at this as a passion. You get to do this. I definitely think you're part of that made to do this kind of deal. I think it's a really awesome sport. So, what are your goals for 2019? Just kind of stay the course, or more or less? What are you looking to do?
We have some big goals in 2019, and I'm not be able to share all of them with you. But
that's totally fine.
We're gonna have I think my coach had a meeting with my management last night, and they'll have another one next week after some other stuff. I am probably going to be with LFA again, and I'm super excited about that. They've been really, really good to me, and I think we mesh really well together. So fight for them a few more times, and we'll see what happens. But we've got a lot of doors that are opening, so we're going to have to sit down. So.
Yeah, for sure. And going back a little bit, I love the comment that you mentioned about not a lot of athletes. I think that's changing pretty rapidly. And one thing I noticed too was in the women's MMA, when it really started to boom, with the Rouseys and the Holmes and the Misha Tate and whatnot, most female fighters were specialists.
Exactly. They were very martial artists.
Yeah. But now you got a stand-up and ground game that is just phenomenal, and it's been exciting to see. And I think the skill is surpassing, the variety at least, is surpassing what the men's divisions have, in my opinion.
It'll get there for sure.
Yeah, it's growing rapidly. So what do you like most about this? Being a gymnast, I know that you have a team, but you still do your individual. Is that what kind of really brought you to it, or do you not like that aspect at all?
No, I like the individual aspect of it. When I was so gymnastics is individual, acrobatics and tumbling is a team sport, but there are still individual aspects of that too. But no, I like that, but that's not what brought me to it. I just developed a really specific skill set in gymnastics, and I knew that it would translate really well to MMA. So that's one of the reasons that I was like, I want to try this and just kind of see. And I always loved MMA. I never missed a pay-per-view growing up. I loved GSP. I wanted to be there. Yeah. So yeah, no, I don't know. I'm a competitor, so I love competing, and I love to train too. I'm one of those athletes that they have to kick me out of the gym because I just want to be there and I want to be training and again, because I'm competitive, everything's a competition to me. Like if I see someone on the team doing, I don't know, I have to one up everybody. so I constantly work my butt off. Like even when we're lifting, I'm always trying to keep up with the guys, and my coach is like, Hailey, calm down, you're gonna hurt yourself. But so
it's just competitive spirit, right? I mean,
yeah.
A lot of people, it's totally cliche, like you compete the way you practice, but it's the truth. All those things that they're said for a reason, because it's true. And it's really awesome to get that perspective. Now, do you get a lot of support from your family? Do they really support this?
I get so much support from my family.
That's
They like,
awesome.
yeah, they're so. My mom and dad literally do when I'm in camp. They make sure that I'm only focusing on training. So
Hmm.
they worry about ticket sales. They help me with sponsorships. They literally do everything for me. They're amazing. They're big dreamers. So they want me to make sure that I'm doing absolutely everything I can to make my dreams come true. And so they want me to put 100% focus into my training. So they're super supportive. Now, at first, my dad is actually the one who brought me into the gym, so he
Hmm.
was super excited. My mom was not. And then she came and watched me compete at a jiu-jitsu tournament, and I did really well. And my mom is super competitive too, and so when I won, she was like, "Okay, we can do this."
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
great. That's great. It's unfortunately it's kind of a mixed response. When I ask that question, you don't know what you're going to get.
yeah,
But that's one. I think that is such a large aspect of it that people don't really see. So I want to kind of get off track a little bit. So I like to ask the hard hitting questions here.
okay.
That's totally sarcastic, because I don't. But
I was like,
it's
"Let's do it."
so this leads into it. So how does the weight cut go for you? Do you have that down?
I'm getting better. I mean, I've never had any issues.
Hmm.
I had one hard weight cut um, a couple fights ago after I had a long layoff. But I mean, I always make weight.
Right,
So I'm
right.
really big for the division. I mean, I'm like just shy of 5'9". I walk around that with only 12% body fat when I'm
Hmm.
not in front of camp. So, and I cut about 20 pounds from the beginning of camp to the end. So for it should be really hard, but it's really not that bad.
Right.
And I'm getting better at it. We're figuring it out a little bit more each time. So, yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah. I mean, true
Fun,
professional,
but
right? Yeah, right. I mean, at the end of the day, right? I mean, that's the hardest part, right? You
it
gotta
really, yeah.
you make that commitment, right? I'll fight at this weight, and you make the weight. That's just, true professional. I get it, and that I know it's tough, and it's totally different for women than it is for men. Totally
Yeah.
different too. Um,
Luckily, I have like a really high muscle mass, so the higher your muscle mass, the easier the water comes off. So my water
yes.
cuts that bad.
Yeah,
So
that's a great point. That is a really good point. So with that said about the weight cuts, what are some of your guilty pleasures as far as food goes?
everybody knows that it's pizza.
Okay,
I
that that
eat, and I know that that is like the most generic answer,
no,
but
it's
like,
I love it.
okay, I eat pizza like nobody's business. I really like Uncrustables. Little
Yes.
peanut butter and jelly kid snacks. I like those.
So you like munchy foods?
All food.
Yeah, stoner munchy foods. So I'm so glad you said pizza. So I have a thing here. It's an unofficial official poll. Do you like pineapple on your pizza?
I like it, but I don't like prefer it. So if it's on there, I'm not gonna complain at all. But
Okay.
like my boyfriend, he like orders it with pineapple, and I would never do that. But I'm not gonna talk about
Okay.
it. So
What do you like to put on it though? Like if the perfect pizza for you, what is it?
it's really thin crust and really cheesy pepperoni. That's with a lot of
There you
pepperonis.
go. Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds
basic.
incredible right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I like to ask. So I'll take that as a no because I'm a no. I take it as if it's there, I'll eat it as a
Yeah.
no. So I'm gonna chalk that up because we really need to catch up
Yeah.
with the yes weirdos. Um, so,
But
uh,
yeah, put me on the no.
all right,
I'll eat
perfect.
it, but I'm not like gonna request it.
There you go. See that's a no in my opinion. That works for me. So I mean, you eat probably clean most of the time, I would assume, or no?
Everyone assumes that because the way that I look. In camp, I don't cheat at all. I'm
Okay.
like super, but I'm pretty bad. Like, no, I like keep an eye on the scale, but I train so much that I really don't ever get any heavier than like 143 to 144
Hmm.
because I'm training so much, which honestly is about where I need to be out of camp anyways. I don't really need to get much smaller than that.
Right.
So I, I'm very lucky and very blessed with a very high metabolism and a willingness to work hard.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad for me as it is for some because some are a little bit lazier out of camp and they eat really badly. So I just like if I notice that the scale's not looking good, then I'll knock it off. But I usually am fine, so I mean what I want.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, having great metabolism is one thing, but you still have to put in the effort to really get it going. You know what I
Oh
mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, it only does so much on its own, and it's wonderful that you have that. But like you said, you still have to push it,
hmm
and push yourself and get there. So are you doing 5 days a week or 7 days a week, or what does it normally look like for you?
I took the week off
Hmm.
last week because I had had two fights in like 13 weeks, and
Right.
so and for me, and because the weight cut, I get super, my body fat gets down to like 5% by the end, which is like extremely low.
Hmm.
And so my body needs to break more from the cut than it does from the actual training and the fight because my body's really used to that. But so I took a week off, which I usually don't do, but my coach made me. So I got a ticket and went and visited my sister in South Carolina.
Nice.
It ended up getting snowed in, like there was a winter storm. So my week vacation ended up being a week and a half, which I think my coach was happy about it because he wanted me to do longer anyways. But I'm back now, so I trained this morning, and then I'm gonna go back in and train tonight. So I do like Monday through Fridays. I usually do two a days, and then
Hmm.
I'll run during the day, so 2 to 3 training sessions a day, and then Saturday. Um, Sometimes I'll take Saturday and Sunday off, but usually I'll do something on Saturday, whether
Hmm.
it's just like a mix or a run or sprints or a stadium workout or something. So
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty solid right there. I mean, that's
yeah,
very
I
solid.
train a ton.
Yeah, I mean that's next level. Um so yeah, and then you mentioned, taking a week off. So like I always feel like I hate to feel like I'm in the way, if that makes sense.
Oh
you
no.
know. But yeah, like I said before, we've had some really cool conversations and things, and it's awesome. So I've got a lot of comments from people, you and several others. Um, they're like, man, who is this fighter? And I share everything I know,
hmm
and I point them to your social media pages and say, hey,
Now you can tell them I don't like pineapple on my
yeah,
pizza.
for sure, absolutely. So now I'll be promoting the hell out of it. But I point them to your social media, and I've had people say, hey, this, I'm getting pretty motivated here. So I wanted to say that because not just for me, but from other people, you have motivated so many people. So do you do any coaching or training, or is that something you want to do at some point?
Right out of college, I got a coaching job in Erie, Pennsylvania to coach acrobatics and tumbling at a college there. And some weird stuff happened. The head coach who hired me ended up getting moved to another school.
Hmm.
So we pushed my application to the head coaching job, and then I ended up finding MMA, and I withdrew my application and decided this is what I want to do. But I've been a coach for a really long time. I coach gymnastics.
Mm-hmm.
I coach some really good kids in gymnastics, and I don't know. When I grew up, it was more like there was a lot of tough love in the sport, which I still think is important. You have to crack the whip every once in a while, but I don't think and I don't think this was my coaches were amazing, so I think this was kind of self-inflicted. But I never really thought I was that good, and I was. I didn't realize I was how good I was until I got to college, and so like I don't want gymnasts to ever or any athletes to feel that way. Even if they're not that good, they can still feel like they are.
Right.
um, so I don't know, and I think that my performances, in competitions would have been totally different if I viewed myself the way that I should have. And so, um, I don't know. I don't want people to feel that way. So
Hmm. No, that's great. But yeah, just know that people ask, and it's pretty cool. I
that
love that. That's what I like most about it, hearing these stories and all that good stuff. And so you mentioned LFA. I'm becoming a huge fan of LFA. I mean, they put on an awesome show. And the roster there, just I think in all their weight classes is stacked.
yeah, they're really
Obviously,
good.
yeah, obviously the flyweight division is just off the hook there.
And they're just like they're pushing people into the UFC. Like every UFC card, there's a new LFA fighter on
Right.
the card. Just they're doing a great job.
Yeah, for sure. Really getting some great exposure. But yeah, they just seem like a really well ran organization.
Yeah, and it's getting better and better.
Hmm.
They're a good promotion for sure.
Yeah, that's great. So you mentioned that you've watched the sport in GSP, which is probably my favorite male fighter of all time. Dude's a freaking legend. What are some other fighters that you like to watch or that motivate you?
This is gonna be obvious because everyone sees pictures of me and they're like, "Oh, look, it's Holly Holm." I love Holly. You know, when I first started, I'm a lefty and I'm tall, built almost identically to her, same height, same pretty much everything. And so my coach is like, you need to watch a few fighters and mimic them. That way you understand how to move. And so he threw Holly Holm out. He threw T.J. Dillashaw. He threw some orthodox ones, some unorthodox, just so we can see kind of what happens, when
Mm-hmm.
I start shadow boxing, how I'm moving. And so I really love Holly, not only because of her, how she competes, but she's just a great person, and she's not one of those athletes who's like sold themselves, she is Holly Holm and doesn't make a fool of herself in interviews,
Right.
doesn't ever, she's just herself. So I really like her. I love Demetrius Johnson, but who doesn't? I mean, I actually know there are a lot of people who don't, but they're all stupid.
Yeah, total. I mean, yeah. I mean, for real. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, but yeah, it's true. You either
Yeah,
like him or you're stupid. It's that simple.
exactly. Dominic Cruz, I love Dominic Cruz. I don't know. I watch all that. I mean, I don't really miss cards. Like
Hmm.
my entire DVR is just fights from all
Yeah,
different organizations.
yeah,
So
for sure. And that's awesome. It's I love that there's no off season,
yeah,
and so as a football fan, I don't have the end of season depression because I have
yeah.
this.
Ah,
Um, but yeah, it's really cool, and yeah, you mentioned some awesome names there. Cruz is one that I think a lot of people overlook, but the guy is really good. I
it's
mean,
so.
yeah, he's
And I love
phenomenal.
Max Holloway.
Yeah,
I love Max.
yeah, what a warrior that guy. What an absolute warrior. No, you're right. I mean, those are some great names, and that's a great idea. Watch some fighters and check them out and see what they're all about.
Mhm.
And that's definitely a great list there. So I don't want to keep you much longer.
Very good.
But yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add, or I know you got to train soon, and
Yeah, I got like 30 minutes, so I'm good.
yeah,
Um, well, can I thank my management and my coaches and my sponsors?
absolutely,
Yay.
absolutely.
Okay. So I have Jake Brennan, Nick Brennan, Donnie Curtis from Blitz. They're my coaches. And I also want to point out that the best fighters don't gym hop. Just saying. I understand like going other places and training with others, but like if you name Conor McGregor, Dominic Cruz, Holly Holm, John Jones, all those people have stayed at the gym they started at.
Hmm.
And so I just wanted to throw that out there. Everyone asks me, like you're at a relatively unknown gym, are you going to move? No.
No.
What I'm doing is working, so I'm staying. So there's my little two cents. Desiree, she's my main training partner. Armando Villarreal, Ed Guzman, they're all great. And my management, Sucker Punch Entertainment, the Bryans, they look out for me a ton and make sure that I don't make stupid decisions when it
Hmm.
comes to signing contracts and stuff.
Right.
So that's good. And my sponsors, I have All in Faith. They're like one of my main sponsors. They're
Hmm.
really, really cool. I really got excited when they wanted to partner up because I feel like they're a really good representation of me. So
Perfect.
that was cool. Yeah, and Fat Daddies, they've sponsored me every fight, and B&J were finishing. So
Nice. Yeah, that's great, and that's really like you said, gym hopping. I get it.
and
I get it.
And so I'm like, you have a great home gym, like, and I understand, especially girls, we have to go other places and spar because there's just not girls.
Right.
We're like heavyweights, girls and heavyweights. We can't, you do have to bump around,
Yeah.
just spar, but you should stay, And if you don't have a great home gym, then just switch gyms, but you don't need 11 billion places.
Yeah.
Because
For sure.
then it's confusing because you can't develop a style.
Right.
You got
Yeah,
like
that's a good
a million
point.
different people telling these things, so.
But yeah, thank you so much, and thank you, to your management. I know that, that's a huge part of it, and this has been a wonderful thing, and getting to talk with you and get to know you in the past month. So I know you're going to kill it next year. You were on that 2019 list, and people who don't know who you are kind of blows my mind, but they will, and they'll be like, "Man, I should have listened a long time ago." But yeah, you're gonna do great. I can't wait to see what 2019 brings. So I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you
And
so much for having me.
for sure, I mean, it means a lot to me. I'd love to talk again, if you'd ever into that. And
Yeah, for sure.
have a great night, and finish the year strong. And we'll see you in 2019.
Sounds good.
All right,
Thank you, Kyle.
see ya.
Bye.
All right, that was Hailey Cowan. Absolute pleasure to talk with her. She is a beast fighting for LFA, so it looks like her next one will be with LFA also. So keep an eye out for that. She definitely needs to be on your radar if she's not, and if she's not, you need to re-examine your MMA fanship, I guess is the word. Yeah, that should be it for interviews. We got 2 shows to record this week, though. One will be out tomorrow, and then one will be out Sunday. And we have some interviews lined up for next week. So have a good night. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk soon.